Police on the scene in East Austin at Douglas Street and Old Torf Street. A 911 call came in just before midnight last night.
Now, police say they actually found the victim here in the parking lot of this apartment complex. EMS ended up taking that man to the hospital where he later died. Right now, police will not say exactly if he was shot or stabbed, only saying that he had obvious trauma. Homicide detectives still on scene, as I mentioned this morning, collecting evidence. We've seen also a lot of activity in a second floor apartment where they've been taking evidence bags out. Right now, police say they do not have any information about a suspect, and they're asking if you know something about that to contact them. You can also remain anonymous.
What a shocking revelation, and quite frankly, we have not seen such an attack on reporters since Michael Hastings of 2013, if you recall. But to speak about this tragic death, especially throughout all of independent media, is my former Infowars colleague and friend of the show, the one and only Jon Bowne. Sad that we have to have you back on such an occasion like this, but first of all, how are you doing? The high alert must be through the roof.
I heard pretty early on. Darren McBreen let me know pretty quickly what was going on, and this was well before we knew anything. That newscast that you showed, it was still in question as to whether who had actually been killed. And now there are newscasts all across Austin that are referencing Infowars, and much to their chagrin, by the way, and Jamie White as being the person that was the victim. Wow. Yeah, so I knew early on, and we did know that Jamie hadn't shown up for work. So that's how we knew initially. And Jamie was one of these people that just was completely reliable. The reason he was a senior writer is because he was somebody that we relied on to get things done. And on top of his excellent writing and his research, he was always there. In fact, my reports were posted mainly by Jamie. This was kind of a silent thing that we did between each other. It was just kind of a known thing.
He was a young man too. How old was Jamie? He looked very
35.
young.
He was 35. Okay. He was born in 1990. Yeah, and born in outside of Cleveland in Stowe, Ohio, and raised as a Catholic, a great piano player. The more you learn about Jamie, the harder it hurts, because he really was such somebody that you recognize. You feel comfortable. He's not this kind of character that
he's down to earth.
Well, not only that, he's just somebody that could have been your friend.
I would say majority of the people that I remember from Infowars, I mean, great people, the whole entire staff. I mean, not John and a whole lot of people. But John, I got to bring this up too. Let's talk about the details of this grim death. They're describing this as severe injuries, and he died shortly after being hospitalized. What type of injuries are we talking about?
So it was shot through his carotid artery, which it's amazing that, as Alex said, it's amazing that he lasted 18 minutes. Actually, I guess the total time was 20 minutes since he was shot. And so he was shot also in the arm. I'm not sure which arm, but he was shot through the carotid artery and bled out. And what's amazing is that the police actually arrived within 2 minutes. And, if you live here in Austin, you call the police, 911's a joke in your town. I mean, they don't show up 8 to 10 minutes if you're lucky. So they were there because that's such a high crime area. They already had patrols there. So they were on the scene. They tried to stop the bleeding. They got him into the ambulance. They rushed him to the hospital. He died.
Okay, so all right, so
18 minutes later,
they shot a shot in the neck, which is a very fatal blow. Okay, who's the culprit? Who are they suspecting? We don't know yet.
And so I did a Substack on this, and I went through kind of my rage, and what I did was I raged through data and information that just how far Austin, Texas has fallen in the numbers as far as crime is concerned, and the amount of car break-ins. It's an epidemic here. From his sister, the Independent had interviewed his sister, and she said that his car had been broken into around Christmas, and he wasn't having it again, from what I can tell. And he went out and he confronted the people breaking into his car, and they shot him.
It's said to be that he was claiming that he was on the Ukrainian kill list. Now, that sounds crazy to the naked ear, but it's not. Because Tucker Carlson's on the actual kill list. And here, I want to show you this too, John, as well as Jimmy Dore and a whole host of people. Here it is. Let me get your take on this.
Roger Waters is the one that blows me away, that they would have the gall.
Yes.
Roger Waters on the kill list.
Yeah, so there's a whole list of people.
Jones is on the kill list. And we've known this for years.
Scott Ritter. Yeah.
Scott Ritter. Yeah. I mean, and so we've known this for years, and we just kind of ignored it, but it really raised some red flags after this incident, and I don't think that is what happened, but a lot of people will speculate and say, well, they can cover it up and make it look like a car break-in and a mugging or whatever. The guy that runs the website, it's run by an NGO of a former security official for the Ukrainian government. And so it's tied, and then the servers are supposedly in the United States and in England. So it has this kind of globalist aspect to it. So there's a lot of, questions around that. It's brought a lot of light to that. And maybe that's we're going down the wrong path on that. But I think it's good that we brought light to this kill list, and the fact that, that the Ukrainians, I mean, there's videos all over of them shooting dummies dressed up like MAGA, and and they hate Trump, and they hate any Americans that won't send them our tax dollars. So Ukrainians are a problem. Yeah, my spider sense is going off about the desperation of the dying New World Order. I mean, it's their own people that are declaring that it's over, that the New World Order is floundering, and there are people with billions of dollars that have invested decades into this New World Order, and of course, we're talking about people that would make the Genovese mob family look like amateurs. I mean, these people start wars, they kill millions of people, and so they would do whatever it took as one last desperate measure to reclaim control, because they're all about control. So,
John, I don't know if you saw this, but this is your colleague Chase giving great detail, which will add to our story here about what happened to him, as you said earlier this afternoon, which is just astounding. Let's hear what he has to say as he was SWAT teamed.
State list. Jamie was on it. Alex, you're on it. I'm also on it. I reposted earlier today that I was on it. And I think a lot of the Ukrainian supporters, I don't know if it's from Ukraine or not, it could just be leftists here in the United States, are using that list to weaponize swatting.
Are there higher security measures now?
Yeah, no, I mean, the saddest part about it is just the humanity of it, is the fact that, I know what he on a day-to-day basis was going through. We don't make a lot of money, and we haven't been able to get a cost of living raise even through the Biden years. We've been going through this lawfare, and so we haven't, as the cost of living went up, we've all struggled. We're all making half of what everybody else is making. And so that's why he was living in that neighborhood. And and so the thing that really hits my heart is the fact that, he was just doing exactly what I feel like I'm doing. And that's just putting the information out there for my fellow Americans, just so one day in the future that we can get past all of this and get to a point to where we're living in a great country again. And it's not about making America great. It's just that all of these people that we've gone after, that we've exposed, that we put ourselves in the spotlight. I mean, people know, they know who Jamie is. They know who Chase is. They know who you are. They know who Alex is. We've put our lives on the line to expose these people. And it's not easy. You're not going to be financially rewarded. At this point, I don't think it's a globalist move on the chessboard, but the thing with Chase was very odd.
It is odd. It is odd.